doggy bag there.
Yeah, no.
Right?
I took over.
Welcome everybody. I need to inform you that the annual meeting will be recorded due to our policies for record keeping and to allow for live stream, to assist in the minutes and to allow for live streaming. The Circular Council acknowledges the North West Tasmanian Aboriginal people as the traditional custodians of the country on which we stand, meet and play. We recognise their continuing connection to the land, waters and community. We pay respect to elders past, present and emerging. Attendance, we're all here, so no leave of absence. 2.1. If I could have a mover and a second that the minutes of the annual general meeting held 17th of October 24, which have been previously circulated, be confirmed as a true record. Thanks, Councillor Debner. Thanks, Deputy Mayor. No debate. I'll put the motion. Those in favour? Aye. Those against? Carried. 3, 4. So we now move on to the annual. There's no public submissions. To the 4.1 annual report, I'll ask the CEO General Manager to speak to it.
Thank you, Mr Mayor. Thank you, councillors. I'm going to give a high-level overview of the highlights of the annual report, noting, of course, that I started with council on the 7th of July, so it's for the previous term. And after which I'll ask Rachel to speak to some of the financial components of the report. And the annual report is part of Council's planning and reporting framework, and it demonstrates our ability to contribute towards community well-being and provides assurances to the community as to Council's financial sustainability and prudence that it applies to the running of the entity. Some highlights from this annual report: we've seen an increase of 93 rateable properties since financial year 22-23 in the Circular Head community. The assessed annual value has increased from 100,487,834 to 176,281,864, showing an increase of 75,794,030. And Rachel will be able to expand on that a little further. The more broader highlights are going to be around an amazing events calendar that I'm sure that you all are across. 34 events were delivered in financial year 24-25 by our team, led through our Connected Communities team. We've seen some resource challenges in certain parts of the organisation with the departure of compliance staff and a review of the Building Act in October 2024, requiring Council to appoint a permit authority as a licensed employee. So there have been some challenges, and of course we because of our geographical location and as with many local government organisations, we face challenges around resourcing as well, and we continue to work on that. During the year, there was just one Ombudsman investigation and no Integrity Commission investigations. Before I hand you over to Rachel, as I say, I joined Council in 7 July this year. We've got an amazing team, and I really look forward to working with the team and leading the team ahead and working with your good selves in this amazing community of ours. Reconfirming this year and beyond, we'll be focused on Council's interactions with customers and the community and making sure that we've got a financially sustainable organisation where the community actually looks at us and we see it as part of a pivotal part of our community delivering against community wellbeing outcomes. I'd like to invite Rachel now to talk to some of that detail.
Thank you. Through you, Mr Mayor. Just in a bit of a quick summary where we ended up in terms of our financial statements. We had a budgeted loss of 1.7, an amended budgeted loss of 1.75 million. We ended up at 1.557, so we're about 190 grand better off than what our amended budget was, which was nice. It was a large year in terms of that deficit to get long-term strategies done as well. So things like the CBD plan, the 2050 vision, the open space plan and things like that, they take a lot of operating funds to get those projects underway. So council should be commended for getting those projects done in the current year. In terms of the financial position, we ended up with a cash balance of a little over 21 million. And another interesting figure there I'm on actually page 2 of the financial statements of the annual report, sorry. With our property infrastructure, plant and equipment's got a written down value of 276 million, so that's a fair chunk of assets that we've got under our control. Our total equity is around 310 million with all our other assets, and investment in TasWater's another one as well, which is roughly around 27 million. In terms of, I'm back on page 29 now of the actual annual report. In terms of the income, some of the variances that we had from actual to budget was, one of the main ones was the change in the operating contract for the swirl. So we went from a management fee for service basis to actually a performance-based contract, so that actually changed some of the figures and where they sat in the financial statements. In terms of grants, the financial assistance grants were actually 1.4 million under budget due to the timing of the payments from the Commonwealth to the state and then from the state to us. So hopefully in the next year or two they sort themselves out and actually get back into kilter, so what we actually say they're going to get, they actually give us that financial year instead of paying some in advance and then doing the same thing the next year. So that would be handy. In terms of expenses, employee benefits, we're under budget there. Some of the staff roles were not filled during the financial year. We also had the previous general manager vacate in March, and we had an interim general manager which was paid for through a consultancy arrangement, so that means it moved from employee costs to consultancy, which is another expense, so that actually just created a variation in the year. And the other big one there was, it's actually the net gain or loss on disposal of property, infrastructure, plant and equipment, and that's where we wrote off a number of assets out at the Port Ladder landfill site, so that was around $4.5 million. So the cash moved from 20.2 million in the 23-24 year to 21.1 million, and our share of our investment in TasWater is at 1.42%. So I encourage everyone to have a bit of a look at the annual report. There's been a power of work completed by the staff and the councillors in that 24-25, not just 24-25, but every financial year. And we wish to thank all the staff for their continuous commitment and loyalty to an organisation and an industry as well too, which at times is testing, but it's also very rewarding. So thanks, Mr Mayor.
Thanks, Rachel. If I get a move in a second and anyone wishes to speak on this, that will be part of the debate, if I could have it that way. Thanks, Councillor Oldacre. Second, Councillor Dabner. Does anyone wish to speak? Councillor Oldacre, you wish to speak?
No, I'm good.
You good? Councillor Dabner?
No, thank you.
Does anyone else wish to make a comment on? I too concur with and thank the general managers we've had over the 12 months, directors and staff for like Rachel just pointed out, some challenging, at times challenging, but very rewarding work and some work that's been very well done. I also take the opportunity to formally, in a council setting, acknowledge the certificate of service provided to Councillor Oldacre for the many years service to to our council and the community in general. So thank you, John, I'll say this time, for your service over many years, and I can put that in the public record as well. So, and thank you all to councillors and staff for the diligent work and the way we've gone around handling many things, some difficult, some not so difficult, but managed to stick together and get it all done. So thank you very much. With all that said, I'll put the motion. Those in favour?
Aye.
Those against? Carried. Being no further business, I close the meeting.